Hello and welcome to the stream. Yesterday was yesterday and it was not a very good day yesterday, but that is perfectly okay. And today is Friday, last day of the week, so with a little rest, we'll see what we can do and see if we can do a little better today. Not really too sure of what to make of yesterday. I know I kind of had a rough go of it. Does look like we had two solid moves. Didn't have a whole lot going out of this level other than a strong push and a breakout up. Not sure if I want to leave this level or not. Levels don't really predict much. Do have the trend line as well from yesterday. Got about 2.5 minutes until the opening bell. It's a good possibility we're looking long. See if that tells us or helps us out any. Looking like an overall uptrend. Got our main trend. The average of the trend. And that'll be an extreme. All these angles are the same. Well, that did a lot of good. Put that back where it goes. Don't look the same. There we go. There we go. Having a few technical issues this morning, so I'm not sure if everything is going to be working out correctly. Slow internet too. Sure. Technical kind of day. Try to work through it. And opening bell in 2, 1, go. Definitely have a break there.
Order filled.
I forgot to set my stops in place. Oh my goodness. What is going on here today already? Oh my goodness. So we got everything in order. This is the OC. I'm not sure why that's on. Alright, let's try this again.
Order filled.
See if we can have some normalcy. How do we get way down there? Ay, ay, ay. No bother. I'll take these out of here. I got a general idea of what's happening. It's a pretty strong breakout. Could see a repeat of a type of day like yesterday. At about $20 of risk on the trade. Apologies for being a little late to getting on today. I usually like to get on about 15 after. Give about 15 minutes for everybody to come in. $7:30 for sure. I should be definitely signed in and on, because usually by 7 o'clock I'm trying to make sure everything's good to go. Sometimes I have difficulty with keeping an internet connection, so I may have to change to a different location. So I try to leave time to make sure I can work out some of these difficulties. I'll sit on this one for a minute, let a few candles form. Still have the 70 level. We didn't quite reach it all the way yesterday.
Stop filled.
Alright, something is definitely not right, because that was nowhere near.
Order filled.
Right there. Be the only way I could explain what just happened. Yes, price did reach there, but that was taken out way before price got there. Hope the way the morning started was not a sign of things to come. Things are already being a little strange in the trading software, having difficulties getting connected on the internet, having difficulties getting everything basically set up in general. We do have a bit of a trend line we can watch here. I'll be looking to close if it breaks this line over here. A nice consolidation right before the breakout, so there should be several sell orders packed into here to continue pushing it down. Nice little stop at the level as well. And a strong push. Smaller candles. Momentum stalls out. This little area would have to officially break for the theory that I have to not work. So I'm gonna wait for that point. Try not to get out too early. And there's the
Order
break.
filled. Order filled.
So it should be going long. In line with the original part of the day, I'll cover the last low. I'll try to let that ride. There's about a 5-second stream delay. Yesterday I was using no delay. Seemed to be causing a bit of technical issues with speed and execution in the software. So I used a small delay. Seems to be helping a little bit with the executions. Starting to show an upward flow. A lot of people might see this as a pennant or type of triangle. In this area here. I'm mostly just looking at the current flow of the action. Had a false break if you're going by pattern, and now we're breaking through the top. Its overall bias is long for the long term. Starts to break higher, this would be worth holding for a little while to see how far it'll go. Looked like yesterday it kind of smoothed out a little bit after lunch. I'm not sure how long I'll hang in today. That'll be kind of determined by the max loss. Use the 100, and then we'll have one last day Monday to do a few more tweaks if need be. I'll probably need to do some research over the weekend and practice and back test. I'll be doing that with Ninja Trader. If you'd like to see that, just let me know. But I probably will be investing a good bit of time into that. Try to speed things along a little bit instead of just getting market time daily. Still kind of working things out, so this is not a definite strategy. It's more of the process of getting into the way of how I kind of wanted to do it since day one of when I first learned about trading. Just going to hang on to this and see if it holds out. Kind of still back in this little chop area here. Cutoff balance is 48, or yeah, 48, 637. So it's possible we may get close to that, even just trying to allow for a small amount of risk for the day. We're at 60 down at this point though, so no winner would mean made a few too many mistakes already. Futures can quickly eat up an account, which is why I kind of advise using the challenges, because a lot of times you're going to spend a lot less in getting the challenge and failing the challenge than you would be blowing your own money out. Point values are significantly higher, especially if you're familiar with Forex and trading stocks. These are going to be leveraged assets, so if you're putting your own money in, you can quickly see how fast it can disappear. So it's highly advised to get some practice, get some experience, and if you really want to trade with money involved, it's best to probably try to go for a prop firm or challenge account until you get a lot of confidence and consistency built up, and then go into your own money. And again, that's just because of the point values. Even at $1.25 a point, we're going to move 150 points pretty easy. So that can make a significant dent in your account. Because notice, even this little small area, that would be about $25. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So yeah, about $30, $35 right there. Just in that small little space on the 1 minute chart. So it's always best to make sure that you have a solid strategy, solid understanding of everything that's happening before you actually put your own money into it. Would just be my advice. Not quite getting a hard move out either. Typically on the Russell it would move right from the very first candle. I may have to start looking at that one again. Seems like the S&P is a little sluggish out of the gate every day. And a little more patience. Hop back above our line of flow. And there's another break. So I'll hang on to this one for a moment. And bring the stop up. Reduce that risk down to about 15. I'll hold from here. nice strong push there. I'll retrace. See if it's going to flag or try to retrace, and just observe that upward line. Looks like it might be trying to make a small flag. Watch for a break of the high. Break of the high, and then we'll probably see it come up to the 5140. And I'm visually watching the low. little more patience here. Just waiting for this high to break. Still think we're going up. Got an overall flow up. Not sure what I might pick for an overall target for the day. Don't really have much above that's recent enough to work with, so we'll just kind of have to judge this out. I know we've got the 5130, 5140. We had a push here right before the market opened. So I would expect probably 5140 to be somewhere in the range of expectation of where we're heading to. Gonna watch. I'm gonna keep an eye on this little low area right here. Been slow on the volume. Looks like we're making a little bit of a topper pattern. Yep, that's going short now.
Order filled.
Strong little break across. But it might not. Might have just been a fake out. We are near the top. So if we're going to start a downtrend, this would probably be the highest point of that low of the downward move. Still watching that 50-70 area because we never reached that yesterday. No, I think that's going to start trying to break high. Let's give it a second. Breaks this point here, it probably will continue long.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
See which way we want to go. I'm still thinking up. We'll give it some time to make a decision instead of trying to guess ahead of time. Does look like that might continue. There's one other form of scalping that I'm kind of looking at too. I'm not sure if I want to use it or not. It does seem a little bit impractical, but logically over the long term it makes a little bit more sense. And that's going for short targets instead of trying to catch a runner. Right now I'm more or less just trying to catch the runners.
Order filled. Order
But
canceled.
it seems to me that in the overall perspective of things, it's much better probably to go for a target. So I'm kind of debating on how I want to do that. I know I'm looking at a lot of the past history of where I've recorded and some of the experiences that I've been through already, and it seems like there's a common denominator of about 3 to 4 points. So I'm kind of wondering if I should set that as the target and just take short trades for just 3 to 4 points, which would be basically 3 to 4 lines. So for example, had I entered here 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it would have been a target, and then we would have been out of the trade here. And then in this instance, 1, 2, 3, 4, we'd be coming out of the trade somewhere around this top here if we were to use that type of target. And it seems to be logical that I would win a little bit more that way. Although the wins would be smaller and I wouldn't get one of those massive wins or get a long runner, it would be more or less a consistent target and probably a little bit easier to go for that and be a little bit more consistent. That's something I'm actually going to experiment with over the weekend and see if that's a way that I want to go. I'm not going to just change in the middle of the day here so far. We'll finish out this week trading how I've been trading. Overall, it does not look to be great results, but I need a little bit of refinement still to go with that. I'm wondering if a target would just make sense to add in. Especially over the course of history, there's been several times where I could have made that 4-point target, but that trade ultimately ended in a loss. So that's part of what's influencing my thinking for doing that. See if we have enough momentum to break through the top and make a new high. We got a bit of a fake down that way. And guilty, fell for that one. But can't get every trade either. A lot of starting traders will get aggravated because they'll lose a lot of trades, but that's just unfortunately part of the game. Nobody is ever perfect, even the best traders in history. They were never perfect. They just managed to make everything work in a way that worked out well for them, and it made a profit. So that's kind of the process of what I'm working through here. And this might end up being a loss. That's a steep drop. So I'm going to give this a moment just to see what it does. Got one more trade basically, and then I'm pretty much going to have to stop if I'm going to leave any room left. Really don't have much at all. Really should be stopping here to leave $100 left. We have 637 as our cutoff, so it's very possible I could just have to reset this weekend and start fresh on Monday. Even $100 does not leave very much room with futures, so that's why it's probably a good idea to go with a challenge or some other way to leverage your money starting out. So if I blow this out and blow this account, it's only a $50 maximum loss because that's all I've got to secure this account. So definitely not the best go of it. It's just part of the process of figuring everything out. So very tempted to take a short right off of here, just because we're near this top. It had two strong pushes down. And that's a clear push down. That was the first. There's the second. Kind of maybe expecting something like this. And that's always been my gripe about these longer term trades. The market is always changing. So you kind of need to adapt and change your plan as the market changes. You can't say at the open of the day it's going to do exactly this and that, because it's going to do so many other things just based on other people participating in the market. So as soon as they start getting involved, your plan has to change, or you will not be in line with the market. I'll have to go back and review some tape and basically watch all the recordings. I'll be doing that mainly before I go into the practice session, so I can get a large view of everything that's happening, and it's a little bit easier to spot looking from the third person of where mistakes are being made. I think patience is probably part of it. Kind of trying to catch every move, but not really. I'm mainly trying to catch every group of moves. So if it's an upward push, I'd like to have the upward part of it and not try to catch all these little downs. Same when it's going down. Try not to really catch all the ups. It's kind of hard to determine though, because when you're looking at the chart like this, it's kind of hard to say what it's going to do versus having more information involved. So if we're looking at the chart here, we can say, okay, that's probably down, and then we broke here. Okay, now we're definitely going down. So we had that short bias starting out, and now we broke back, started to go long. So our plan's kind of changing back and forth with the market. And that's why I like the shorter term trading, because it allows adaptation to each of these changing conditions. Probably not going to go our way again. I'm going to leave this one to sit. If it fails, then this will be the last trade. I have a very sneaky suspicion this is the top. Main reason I'm thinking that is because we are starting to lose this little angle. And notice it's gradually starting to fall over. It's not always going to be a good indication, but a lot of times when that momentum starts slowing down, kind of what we were looking at yesterday, the momentum slows down, it will typically start running in another direction. I'm probably not going to get that one either.
Order filled.
So that would make pretty much no room left I think I'm going to go ahead and try to finish this out, just reset for Monday. Less than $100 is not much to work with for a day. Just reset. And just for fun, we will do the targets. So I'm going to set this down to 2 points, set this to 4 points. That's actually not, let's see, 4 points. We got 4 ticks. And this will be, so that'll be 3 points. Oh, let me see here. Yeah, so 6. Oh, that's not right. It's not right. What numbers do I need? What numbers do I need? Okay, we got 4 ticks. So let's see. Okay, let's see. This needs to be 20, and that should be, this will be adjustable. So the stop will be adjustable. The target should be set for about $20. And we'll try it with short targets. And for this, I'm going to wait for a little break across this line. Go from there. And kind of going back on the loss, this would have been $2,000 lost in about a week and a half. But because I only paid $50, it's only a $50 loss for me. So that is much better than $2,000 lost for experimentation. So once it's all said and done, this is no big deal at all. We'll just pick it up, reset, and go again. Just like the plan from the beginning. Just going to keep going and keep changing things, keep modifying things until we work out this strategy completely to be my own, because I've tried so many other different strategies. I've tried so many different things. It's kind of like one of the videos that I posted on my other channel, Forex Storyteller, where you're making your own strategy. Because the main thing is you have to make sure that you understand the strategy that you're using. If you don't understand all the little details of it, all the little caveats and nuances, then you're actually going to ultimately do worse than the person who is showing you the strategy, because you don't think about the market or see the market in the same way they see it in relation to how their strategy is working or intended to work. So right now, the basis of what I have is that horizontal support and resistance does seem to be fairly close as to one of the most accurate ways of where I can pull a price or predict a price. I've tried using trend lines and angled lines, and it does seem like they have a bit of kind of relevance overall, because I know if you notice, I pulled those lines in the beginning here, and one thing I've kind of noticed is if you use an extreme point, then you use the common point. A lot of times when you copy these over, these will line up in other areas of the chart. So that's what kind of led me to thinking, okay, maybe the angled lines would have some type of relevance or holding point or holding power. And in ways they do. Like right here we had the strong break that kind of lines up off of these points. Then it comes back, and then we had the break through the other side. But then you can also take a look and say that we were looking at consolidation. So we have a level, consolidation, more consolidation. But the only problem lies in when you're inside this little area, then what? Then what's going on? And then we've got kind of the same effect going on up here, where we've got that, and it lines up back here. So I'm kind of wondering if I'm kind of almost certain the horizontal levels are probably going to be much better to use versus the angled levels, because at the same time then you get very few points to line up, and then it doesn't help you out much on the other side of the equation where it's like, all right, where is it going and where is it going to stop? So it does look like we could be breaking long on this one as well, so probably had the right position to begin with. Something I run into all the time, but going back on an example, how can we know from here? You saw as well as I did what we had to work with at that point, so there's nothing that's going to tell us this is going to happen. And that seems to be a gripe with a lot of other situations. It's like, all right, we've got the entry, we've got a notification that, or an indication that something's happening, but then the main question is going to be how far will it go? And I think that's going to be the kicker. So I'm kind of wondering if adding this target in is going to help with that. So by not using targets for a while, the most common number that I saw was between about $20 to $25. Occasionally I would see $30 as a profit, and that's also going the same for the Russell 2000, getting about the same numbers with one single contract. So I'm kind of wondering if taking the most consistent number that seems to get reached and use that as a potential target for the trade, that would probably work out to be the best in the long run. Then all I have to do is focus on getting the good entries, which I kind of feel like I'm fairly close to, and then the rest works itself out from there. So just a little breakdown and review of what I'm seeing so far in this type of strategy style and what I've been going through over the week. I'll review some more basically footage over the weekend and take a look, more likely in the evening times, and basically see if there's any other little details that I can come up with in regards to what I might need to change in going to next week. So for this last about $80, I'll be trying the targets to finish out the day. And if we make a gain, then we just keep going on Monday. If we blow it out, then I'll reset and I'll have a $50,000 account again on Monday. So, do or die. Here we go. Price is kind of flat right now, so I'm going to wait and see if it's going to make a decision. We're near this top area, so it could go either way at this point. I'm more or less thinking down though at this point, because we've had momentum up, and now we're kind of stalled, starting to fall again. And some momentum down. We're still kind of lined up here. Kind of looking at something like that. even better, something like that. Here's another common thing people will look at, is we will have a double top, liquidity run to about halfway, and we'll see if it takes the dive from there. If it starts to dive, that'll be a good way to go short. And starting to get that pushed down. Yeah, that's a little disappointing. That's very disappointing right there, but it's part of trading. You keep seeing that happen. That's why I want to think of shifting from using the angled lines to using levels. And kind of more or less leaving the angled lines out, because I can find these angles everywhere, but they don't seem to really mean much. Because we can see basically an angle here, then we had the angle here, then we had the angle there. Can look at some other little instances as well. So this one worked. It actually worked fairly cleanly, like you would expect it to. But at the time of taking that trade, there's no way to know for sure that that is for sure going to work like that. We did expect some resistance here, and that came out to be fairly true. We also expected this to be a level here, which turned out to be true. Kind of expected, didn't really expect anything here. There's nothing really too clear, but there is a level. I did a liquidity grab into it. Now here we had a break, fake and go. Another break down below and go. I think we're starting to get the breakdown here though, that we were actually waiting for. Give the candle a few more seconds. Leave those two. And put this guy right there. Getting the breakdown.
Order filled.
So if we get that, that should be our $20 target. I'll cover the highs. Show the risk. So actually that's a little bit. It's 25 for our target. Take it to the level. Reduce the risk. And at least cover the costs. And if it runs back, then that was definitely a mistake to leave that. But I do think it's at least going to reach this flat spot here.
Target filled.
There it goes. All right. Forward progress is always nice. Alright, there's that flat spot level. See if we don't get a little retracement now from here to there and then back down. So we'll try to play out that plan. Alright, getting some retrace. And we're watching right in this little area here. If we get a bounce off, then that'll be another indication to go short. I'm not going to enter at the level. I'm going to make sure it's going to react. Could also very much say that that could be the spot right there. Basically, any one of these little flat spots could work as a valid level. And there's that reaction. Go down a little further. Can actually probably try for that level here. See if we get that. Which it would actually be, probably even say it's right around in there. I'm going to go with that level there on the top of that, using the wick and strong move as an indication of a level. This is a bit of a pin bar on a higher time frame, and usually pin bars will indicate levels as well, the tips of pin bars, I've noticed. So we do have our double top, a second double top. This was the small scale pattern. This would be a large scale of that same pattern, so that would be the fractal market theory. Or what it does on larger scales, it also did and repeats from the smaller time frame out. So it could also work the other way too, where it did this on the larger scale. Now you're seeing these patterns on the shorter time frame throughout the larger pattern. Check on this euro. The euro has fell drastically back below the 107. And typically what the euro does, the S&P will typically follow. And we still got that slow momentum, so I'm not going to hop out of this trade just yet. Could see that same play out of what we saw on the smaller scale happen here, where it stops here and then comes down. I'm just going to wait it out. It does look like we faked down and then come back up. We could observe that originally as the level, but now we're making that sort of pattern that we were looking at before. Top, down, top, down, liquidity grab, down. And could also see it come down to here. I'm just going to go for the very next level that we didn't touch in the last trade. You can also say we have a triple tap downward sloping top. There's another pattern, but we could also be forming another one of these triangles as well in a smaller scale, just using this level and that top So of course, if that happens and we have a break above out here, then that would be a long indication, and it could actually break this level if it does that. So just looking ahead, that's the two possible outcomes I might be looking at. So if we end up staying in this little area here, it's very likely we could pop long. The market's going to range, though. More than likely we'll wind up somewhere in this little range down here. I'm actually sitting in a trade on the euro short from 107.32, I think it is. 26, 107.264. I've also got a sell stop limit at 108.280 if you're following along in any Forex. And that's that big math equation I was referring to yesterday that I'm actually trading in Forex. I'm using a math equation style strategy for that. Basically just involves managing the amount of drawdown that can be handled and separating the entries based on that drawdown amount. I'll kind of make a video going over that. And I don't trust this anymore, so I'm going to get out of that for a small loss, and we'll wait for another signal. Because if we're looking and observing at that to be a level, this is starting to show as support around this little area here. And I'm thinking that triangle theory is about to be what plays out. So we could see this thing go a bit higher today. Yeah, I'm going to wait for it to get out of this little pattern, this little structure here. I think would be a safe idea. If we break low, I'll target this level. If we break above this line out of the triangle, then I'll be targeting, the target will be somewhere around here, 51.44, 51.45. Watching this candle timer, if it's early in the candle, it's probably not a good idea to enter. But if it's late or near the last parts of the candle, then it's probably much better. But typically you'll see the most extreme motion out of the open and close of the candles, and that goes for all candle time frames. So on that, but one thing to keep in mind is the higher time frame will also affect the lower time frame. So when a new hourly candle opens, you can expect the volatility to increase, although it will not change what's happening in the overall market by much. This is because people wait for the close and open of candles to open trades. It's a very common tactic to use. So just because it's starting to get violent, just make sure to check and know what time of day it is as well, because if it's on a 15 or 30-minute candle, that could also influence the violence in the candle because of that very principle of people just entering and exiting the market. Alright, now we're getting the break lower.
Order filled.
Try this one again. It's getting near the end of the candle where that was showing. So I'm going to go ahead and trust this as a break. I'll cover just the highs, so we'll have a smaller risk. 5, 10, 15, about 1850 there on the risk. Close to 20. Yep, $20 on the risk. And at 50 for the target, so about 1 to 2.5 if we're doing R ratio. Cost of trade is $1.42 for contract fees. A bit of a fight right here. I do have that level here So we've got a little bit of a region right there. There's been a lot of order placement throughout the day. It's been ripped across a couple times too. This actually lines up with more of the pre-market levels. That's more of a prominent zone on pre-market as well. And didn't get that one. So we could have a larger scale triangle pattern forming here.
Order filled.
Check that out because it does not work. And there's that break top side.
Order submitted.
Try this one if it breaks out. Go a little bit higher. So we may be going with plan B, where if it breaks, it could also break this high. A lot of momentum built up. If we are going long, this would indicate that this little area here is full of very heavy buys.
Order canceled.
It looks like we might be doing an overall pattern of a triangle long term. I'm going to put this order back in as a limit order.
Order submitted.
It looks like it's trying to go short again. Could also look at it this way. So one way or another, we're about to make a move.
Order canceled.
Take that order down. Wait just a little longer and let this play out.
Order filled.
Starting to show some reason to break. Cover the bottom of that candle. I'll raise this up to go in line with the plan that we had if it should break. We'll give that a try. What I did was measured the overall rough distance and set that to the target from the breakout area. Because typically on these triangle patterns, the width of the pattern is typically the distance of the breakout in most cases. Got support, resistance in this little area here. Stop is set to the bottom of the strong candle. Uh-oh, what happened? Timer counter quit working. There it goes. And a little bit of violence in the candles.